Alright, just to finish up on the equity here, we realized that the investor has an initial negative cash flow at the outset. That is when the investor invests in the shares, and he is paid a dividend according to the performance of the company. But it is very hard to determine the amount of the dividend in advance, because then you will have to forecast the company's profit, and then you would have to guess how much what percentage of the profit the company will pay as dividend to its shareholders. The thing you should note about the equity is that equity can go on indefinitely. For as long as this guy holds the shares in the company, he can continue receiving dividend. But then there's also the possibility that the company could collapse, in which case the dividends would come to a stop, and there is the possibility this guy could lose his initial investment. But then again, you could also consider the possibility where the guy decides to sell his shares, in which case he would get back a positive cash flow, but we are not sure of the amount that he'll receive at this point, because the shares could have increased in value or could have decreased in value, meaning that this amount could be more than his initial investment, or it could be less than his initial investment. That being said, let us move on to annuity certain. Well, an annuity certain is quite straightforward. It provides a series of regular payments in return for a single premium at the outset. So at the outset, at time zero, there's a negative cash flow from the investor, and in return he gets a series of regular payments. These payments are actually predetermined. These payments are predetermined in the contract, and the amount of time that this annuity takes is also predetermined in the contract between the person who takes out the annuity and the annuity provider. The precise conditions under which the annuity payment will be made will be clearly specified. In particular, the number of years for which the annuity is payable and the frequency of payment will be specified. Also, the payment amounts may be level or might be specified to vary, for example, in line with an inflation index or at a constant rate. Alright, the last two securities we're going to look at are an interest-only loan and a repayment loan. Also called a mortgage. Well, an interest-only loan is a loan that is repayable by a series of interest payments followed by a return of the initial loan amount. So, at time zero, at the outset, the borrower of the loan receives a positive cash flow. He receives the loan at time zero, and then obviously at the end of the time period he has to pay back the loan. So positive cash flow there, and here he'll receive a negative cash flow because he has to pay back the loan. And during this term there is a series of interest payments paid to the provider of the loan, which is later followed by return of the initial loan amount. At times it may be possible for this loan to be paid early, but the number of cash flows and the timing of this final cash flow may therefore be uncertain. Right, on to our last security, which is a repayment loan or a mortgage. A repayment loan is a loan that is repayable by a series of payments that include partial repayment of the loan capital in addition to interest payment. So when this guy takes out a loan here, he receives a positive cash flow. He takes out a loan here and he has to pay back this loan with installments that are predetermined after a given period of time. And each of these installments actually includes a partial repayment of the loan capital in addition to the interest payment. In its simplest form, the interest rate will be fixed and the payments will be of fixed equal amounts paid at regular known times. This is, yeah. Anyway, there are different ways that this can be tweaked. You could have an increasing interest rate, or you could, let's just have it the way it is, as it is right now. What is important to appreciate is that with a repayment loan, the breakdown of each payment into interest and capital changes significantly over the period of the loan. The breakdown here would be different from the breakdown here. As a result, this first payment will consist entirely of interest and will provide only a very small capital repayment, while in contrast, the final payment will consist almost entirely of capital and will have a small interest content. And with that, we are through with the first unit of CT1. I hope you found the material that we've gone through quite helpful, and I hope it has helped you understand the requirements of the syllabus. So once again, thank you very much for tuning into my channel, and have a nice day.